On a wind-lashed March evening in 2014, 22-year-old Emily Richter vanished without a sound along a desolate county road just west of Marble Falls, Texas. Her car was still idling on the shoulder, headlights cutting through the dusk. Her purse was in the front seat, and her phone was untouched. But Emily was gone, and she has never been seen again. If you are new to this channel, hit that subscribe button as we dive into the disappearance of Emily Richter. Emily Richter was a kind of person people remembered, whether it was her wide, disarming smile or quiet, perceptive way of listening. Born and raised in Burnett County, she grew up surrounded by the rolling, scrubby hills of central Texas. Her childhood was marked by small-town rituals, church potlucks, high school football on Friday nights, and weekend swims in Lake Marble Falls. She was the youngest of 3 daughters in a family that ran a modest plumbing business in town. People knew the Richters. People liked them. In 2014, Emily graduated from Texas State University with a degree in environmental science. She had returned to Marble Falls to regroup, living at home temporarily, while saving money to apply for graduate school. Those close to her described that time as transitional. She seemed focused, reflective, and a little restless. Emily had been hiking often, mostly alone, and spending time in the hills outside town. She was especially drawn to the Backbone Ridge area, an undeveloped stretch of high limestone bluffs, cedar groves, and isolated dirt trails that wound along the edge of the Balcones Canyonlands. In the days leading up to her disappearance, Emily's behavior had been entirely typical, according to friends and family. She worked part-time at a small coffee shop off US 281, volunteered at an animal shelter on weekends, and recently began sketching again, a hobby she let go during college. Her mother recalled that Emily had been in good spirits, maybe a little quiet, but that was Emily. The last known sighting of her came on the evening of March 14th, 2014. It was a Friday. Emily had closed her shift at the cafe around 4:30 p.m. Surveillance footage shows her exiting through the rear employee door, wearing faded jeans, hiking boots, and a lightweight green windbreaker. She got into her 2008 Toyota Corolla and drove off toward Backbone Ridge. That was the last confirmed moment anyone saw her. By 8 p.m., when she had returned home, her mother called her cell. No answer. She tried again, straight to voicemail. At first, the family assumed she'd simply lost track of time, maybe out hiking or sketching in the hills. But when 11 p.m. came and Emily still hadn't shown up, her father called the Burnett County Sheriff's Office to file a missing persons report. By morning, a formal search was underway. The scene. Her vehicle was found the next day, March 15th, just off County Road 343A, a remote two-lane route that threads through the canyons west of Marble Falls. The car was pulled onto gravel shoulder near mile marker 18, partially concealed by a thick line of cedar brush. The engine was still warm when a rancher discovered it around 6:15 a.m. while checking fence lines. Inside the vehicle, nothing appeared out of place. Emily's purse, wallet, and keys were all present. Her cell phone was found between the seats. Forensic techs noted that the driver's door was closed but unlocked. No fingerprints other than hers were detected. There were no signs of struggle, no blood, and no indication of forced entry. Her sketchbook was in the passenger seat, open to a pencil drawing of what appeared to be a grove of cedar trees. Search teams combed the surrounding area on foot and by helicopter for nearly 5 days. Cadaver dogs were brought in. Creek beds, drainage culverts, and abandoned wells were all searched. But no footprints, clothing, or broken brush suggested where she had gone. It was as though she had stepped out of the car and vanished into thin air. The setting, Backbone Ridge. Locals know Backbone Ridge as both beautiful and unforgiving. It's a remote patch of wilderness just beyond the reach of town. In the springtime, wildflowers bloom in patches between the limestone outcrops, and the land buzzes with cicadas. But it's also where cell signals vanish, and trails can become disorienting in a few steps. Game trails crisscross the terrain, indistinguishable from hiking paths to the untrained eye. It's quiet. Sometimes it's too quiet. Deputies with the Burnett County Sheriff's Office established a command post at a trailhead about half a mile from where Emily's car was found. Over the next week, law enforcement, local volunteers, and search and rescue units from Travis and Llano counties joined the effort. Thermal imaging was used during overnight searches. Drones were deployed during daylight hours. Aerial teams surveyed more than 30 square miles. However, no piece of physical evidence, clothing fibers, or dropped personal items, was recovered. Investigative leads. According to Detective Marla Dorsey, the lead investigator on the case, all potential persons of interest were quickly vetted and cleared. Emily had no known enemies, no active relationships, and no history of mental illness or substance abuse. Her digital footprint offered no clues, and her texts were unremarkable. Her laptop, seized from her bedroom, contained journal entries and graduate school research, nothing suspicious or alarming. A few tips trickled in during the first month. A hunter claimed he had seen a young woman walking a deer trail about a mile west of the ridge on the evening of the 14th, but couldn't be sure. Another woman reported seeing a man in a red truck parked near the same turnout where Emily's car was discovered. Though the timing of that sighting couldn't be verified, both leads were investigated and ultimately led nowhere. Detective Dorsey requested a geofence warrant on March 20th to identify any cell phones active near County Road 343A between 4 p.m. and midnight the night Emily vanished. The warrant yielded 3 devices. 2 belonged to known ranch workers in the area. The third pinged a burner phone registered in Austin, used only once before going dark. That number has never been linked to a known individual. Unanswered questions. Why would Emily stop her car along that stretch of road? She was familiar with the area, but had never parked there before, at least not according to her family or GPS data from previous outings. There was no trailhead nearby, no scenic overlook. And why hadn't she returned if she had simply wandered off for a short walk? She wasn't known for taking risks. She always told someone where she was going. And then there's the unsettling silence that followed. No calls, no ransom notes, no digital footprints. It was as though her presence had been erased. And for the people of Marble Falls, that silence still hangs heavy. In 2016, the Texas Rangers Cold Case Unit briefly revisited the file, hoping that new technology or outside perspectives might reveal misconnections. But no new evidence was uncovered. In 2020, a podcast episode by Hill Country Shadows reignited local interest in the case. But despite a surge of tips, none were actionable. To this day, the official classification remains missing person suspicious circumstances. There are no suspects, no confirmed sightings, and no answers. The only things that remain are the car and a sketch of cedar trees left behind on a gravel shoulder at the edge of the wilderness. March 14th, 2014, Marble Falls, Texas. The day Emily Richter vanished was unremarkable in every way but one. The early spring weather was warm and dry, with pale blue skies stretching over the canyons and sparse traffic moving lazily through downtown Marble Falls. Nothing about that Friday hinted at what was to come. The timeline of events on March 14th has been pieced together using surveillance footage, digital data, eyewitness accounts, and police interviews. What emerges is a pattern that seems almost too clean until it isn't. Timeline of events. At 7:12 a.m., Emily's mother, Teresa Richter, recalled hearing the shower running. She said Emily seemed normal, a little quiet, but she often was. Emily had coffee and toast and left the house around 7:45 a.m., driving her silver 2008 Toyota Corolla to her shift at the Blue Sage Cafe on Main Street. Her route would have taken her through Avenue N and down 3rd Street. 8:03 a.m., Emily clocked in at the cafe. Several coworkers confirmed she was her usual self, pleasant, calm, and polite. She worked the morning and lunch rushes, operating the register and bussing tables. Manager Letitia Howell would later tell police that Emily seemed a bit preoccupied, but added that there was nothing alarming. 12:46 p.m., a regular customer, Margaret Givens, recalled that Emily's smile seemed forced and that she appeared distracted while taking an order. Margaret told police she had asked if Emily was okay. Emily replied, "Just tired." Investigators later noted this, but did not flag it as suspicious. 4:19 p.m., Emily was captured on the cafe's back security camera, exiting through the employee door. She was wearing a pale green windbreaker, jeans, and boots. In her hand was a stainless steel thermos she often carried. She walked calmly to her car and drove off alone. No one followed. For 26 p.m., Emily's phone pinged a nearby tower on US 281, confirming she was heading northwest toward Backbone Ridge. 4:48 p.m., this is the last known digital trace of Emily. Her phone connected briefly to a tower near County Road 343A before going silent. Cell records show no outgoing texts or calls. The next incoming call from her mother at 7:11 p.m. went straight to voicemail. Emily's 2008 Corolla was discovered the following morning, March 15th, at 6:14 a.m. by Rick Holloway, a local rancher who routinely patrolled fence lines near Backbone Ridge. Holloway noticed a vehicle parked on the gravel shoulder, partly obscured by mesquite and cedar, just off mile marker 18. It appeared unremarkable, with windows up and the driver's side door closed. But when he slowed down, he saw the engine was still faintly warm. Concerned, he called the Burnett County Sheriff's Office. Deputies arrived by 6:41 a.m. and immediately cordoned off the area. The car was unlocked. Inside, her wallet, keys, and phone were all present. Her purse lay undisturbed on the passenger seat. Her sketchbook, open to a pencil drawing of cedar trees, was found beside it. The glove box was closed. The fuel tank was 3/4 full. No prints other than Emily's were lifted from the interior. The passenger door had no signs of tampering or damage to the exterior. The vehicle's black box indicated no rapid acceleration, braking, or crash event. There were no signs of struggle around the vehicle drag marks, broken branches, or discarded belongings. Dogs brought in from Austin-based Search Team 6 could not establish a track. It was as if she had stepped out of the car and simply vanished into the brush. Family and law enforcement response. Teresa Richter reported her daughter missing at 11:08 p.m. on March 14th after she failed to return home or answer her phone. She always texted, Teresa said in an early press briefing. Even if she ran 10 minutes late, she let us know. That silence right away, we knew something was wrong. Deputy Sheriff Kyle Langley was first assigned to the case. Initially, the incident was treated as a late return from a hike, but the discovery of the car the following morning drastically shifted the tone. A command post was quickly established near the County Road 343A turnout. Burnett County Search and Rescue mobilized a full-scale operation by 7 a.m., March 15th to 20th, 2014. Search teams canvassed a 5-mile radius around the car, using drones, thermal cameras, and ground crews with cadaver dogs. Helicopters swept the ridgeline. More than 70 volunteers participated, including local ranchers, friends, and students from Texas State University. The terrain was challenging, with dense underbrush, limestone drop-offs, and unstable creek beds. Nothing was found. Witness sightings and red herrings. Witness 1. A hunter named Brian Cleary came forward, claiming he'd seen a young woman in a green jacket walking westbound on a deer trail around 5:15 p.m., roughly a mile from where Emily's car was found. Cleary said she looked determined, walking quickly with her head down. However, Cleary also admitted he'd had a few beers earlier and couldn't confirm it was Emily. Witness 2 on March 16th. A woman named Ava Sanchez reported seeing an unfamiliar red pickup truck parked along the same road at around 4:40 p.m. when Emily disappeared. She remembered the driver as a white male in his mid-30s with a beard. Investigators tracked down the vehicle, which belonged to a field technician servicing gas lines. His employer confirmed his presence and alibi via GPS logs. He was cleared. These two sightings, the young woman in the red truck, remain unconfirmed but fueled speculation, physical evidence, and analysis. Aside from the contents of Emily's car and her phone, which contained nothing suspicious, investigators had little to work with. A forensic sweep of the vehicle showed no foreign hairs, fibers, or prints. Dirt samples from the vehicle's tires matched the gravel shoulder and one nearby trail, suggesting she may have driven off-road slightly, though no tire marks were found. The thermos was half filled with water. The sketchbook had only one active page, the cedar drawing. Her previous pages were mundane, small birds, rocks, trees. There were no notes, journal entries, or cries for help. A geofence warrant filed by Detective Dorsey revealed 3 devices in the area between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. that evening. One belonged to a neighboring ranch foreman. Another was traced to a local teenager riding ATVs. The third prepaid burner phone pinged once and then disappeared. That phone has never been identified. The media and public reaction. As word spread, media coverage began to escalate. The Hill Country Herald ran daily updates, and by March 18th, Austin affiliates were covering the story. Headlines like "Local Woman Vanishes Without a Trace" and "Backbone Ridge Mystery Deepens" captivated public interest. Social media became flooded with theories, some plausible, others wild. A local conspiracy group claimed Emily had discovered something in the canyon and had been silenced. Others speculated about human trafficking or cartel activity, though no evidence supported either claim. Rumors emerged that a transient camp once operated in the canyons. Half-truth based on a 2009 police report about squatters found in an abandoned shed. Officers investigated the area and found no trace of such activity in 2014. Community impact and emotional fallout. The town of Marble Falls responded with anguish and disbelief. Over 300 people attended a candlelight vigil on March 21st in Johnson Park. Posters with Emily's photo smiling beneath a canopy of oak trees lined every telephone pole in town. Her older sister, Rachel Richter, spoke at the vigil. She's not the kind of person who disappears. She plans everything. If she left with someone or something unexpected. That sentiment echoed in law enforcement circles. Detectives quietly ruled out accidental misadventure by week 2. Privately, they began leaning toward foul play, but without a body, without a witness, and a single credible suspect, they were at a standstill. By April, the search had scaled back. The case was moved to the Cold Case Division by late 2015. In 2021, it was briefly reopened after a hiker found what appeared to be a woman's boot near Devil's Hollow, 8 miles from where Emily's car was discovered. But DNA testing proved it belonged to someone else. Lingering questions. What would have caused Emily to pull off the road at that location? Why leave her car unlocked? Why was there no attempt to call or text, even if she was distressed? Did someone lure her out, or did she see something that prompted her to investigate? Theories abound, but evidence is scarce. Was it a random act? A planned disappearance? An encounter with someone she knew? Or something far more complex? And then there's the phone, still charged, still working, resting in the gap between the seats. No fingerprints, but hers. No calls made. No messages sent. Why wouldn't she use it unless she couldn't? And, less than a mile from the road, searchers found a shallow cave just beyond the cedar brush. Inside, nothing, but a torn strip of green fabric was pinned to the limestone wall with a rusted nail. It matched the color of Emily's windbreaker. Testing is still pending. For over a decade, the question has remained suspended over Marble Falls like an unshakable fog. What happened to Emily Richter on that warm Friday afternoon in 2014? With no witnesses, definitive evidence, or body, the case has spiraled into a labyrinth of theories, some rational, others far-fetched, all unsettling. Each theory found its champions, doubters, and victims as time passed. What follows are the 3 most widely debated scenarios surrounding Emily's disappearance, each grounded in fragments of truth, each incomplete. Theory 1, the opportunistic abduction. From a moment Emily's unlocked car was discovered just off County Road 343A, suspicions of foul play surfaced. The theory suggests that she was intercepted shortly after pulling off the highway, possibly lured out of her car under pretenses, or forced out by someone lying in wait. The location where her car was found is remote enough to conceal a crime, but not so isolated that a vehicle parked there wouldn't draw eventual attention. This duality leads investigators to believe that if Emily was abducted, it was either the work of someone familiar with the terrain or someone who acted quickly and recklessly. Detective Kyle Langley, lead investigator on the case in its first year, later told Texas Monthly in a rare interview, "If someone grabbed her, they did it fast and clean. No struggle. No mess. We didn't find footprints. We didn't find broken brush. We didn't even find tire marks from another car." This led to speculation that the perpetrator may have arrived on foot or even hidden inside her vehicle, waiting. This is a terrifying thought, but it is not unprecedented. Similar cases have been documented. particularly involving women traveling alone through rural areas. The mysterious ping from a burner phone captured near Emily's last known location supports this theory, an anomaly that has never been traced. Investigators believe the phone could belong to a suspect or a witness afraid to come forward. But without more data, it's a shadow in the wind. Additionally, in 2017, 3 years after Emily vanished, a former inmate at Travis County Correctional claimed he had overheard a man bragging about dumping a girl in the canyon near Marble Falls. The man, named Jeffrey Voss, had a criminal history of kidnapping and assault. But when questioned, Voss denied the claims and passed a polygraph. The tip was eventually deemed unreliable, yet its timing and detail unnerved the detectives who followed up. If this theory is correct, Emily's fate was sealed within minutes of leaving her job. She met the wrong person in the wrong place and slipped into the unrecorded margins of a back road that swallowed her whole. But then there's the problem of the phone. If she were abducted, why was her cell phone still in the car? Why hadn't she used it to call for help? And if a stranger had forced her from the vehicle, wouldn't something have been left behind? Unless they cleaned it, or unless she knew them. Theory 2, a voluntary disappearance. Though the Richter family has never supported this idea, some in law enforcement quietly entertained the possibility that Emily left of her own accord. This theory leans on subtle inconsistencies in her final weeks, her alleged withdrawn demeanor at work, the open sketchbook in her car filled with trees and winding paths, the lack of any attempt to reach out for help, and perhaps most compelling of all, the presence of every essential item left behind, except for herself. People close to Emily firmly reject the notion. Her mother called it insulting. Her sister Rachel said she had no reason to run. She wasn't unhappy. She was making plans for the summer. She'd never do this to us. Still, it's a theory that cannot be entirely dismissed. Former FBI profiler Marla Knox, consulted during the case's cold review in 2019, pointed out a psychological profile that matched other voluntary disappearances. She was creative, introspective, brilliant, and quiet. Sometimes people like that simply vanish, not out of malice, but out of the overwhelming desire to be elsewhere, to erase everything and start again. But where would she go? There were no signs of preparation, no withdrawal from her bank account, and her passport remained in her bedroom drawer. There was no evidence she had contacted anyone before or after leaving. Moreover, no sightings of Emily have ever been confirmed. Over the years, tips have come everywhere, from Nevada to British Columbia. In one instance, a woman who matches Emily's description is seen working at a remote artist retreat near Taos, New Mexico. Detectives traveled there. The woman? A painter from Oregon, not Emily. In 2020, a truck driver from Arizona claimed to have given a ride to a soft-spoken hitchhiker near Flagstaff who looked like that missing girl from Texas. She said her name was Elle. She used to draw a lot. But the trail went cold within 24 hours, and there was no way to confirm it. No fingerprints, no digital trail, no new name, no relocation, no reason, unless she planned it so well that she truly disappeared. Theory 3. Something strange in the canyons. Though far less accepted by investigators, one theory has refused to die. It has been passed in whispers through online forums and late-night radio programs. The supernatural theory. Backbone Ridge, where Emily was last seen, has long been steeped in local folklore. Native legends from the Tonkawa tribe spoke of spirits in the stone. Recently, local ranchers have reported strange lights in the canyon at night, low-frequency hums, and a sense of being watched. Emily's sketchbook did not mention the paranormal, but the drawing on the last page, unfinished and smeared in parts, depicts trees and strange swirling forms in the branches. Some believe it resembles a face. In 2015, a geologist exploring the ridge for limestone sampling claimed he experienced a sudden bout of vertigo near the area where Emily's car was found. His GPS malfunctioned, losing time for nearly 30 minutes. He returned his truck, disoriented, and later suffered a brief seizure. Medical exams showed nothing conclusive. Then there's the cave. In part 2, we mentioned a shallow limestone cave 3/4 of a mile west of the car. It was initially overlooked. In 2016, a group of amateur hikers stumbled upon it and reported a torn strip of fabric nailed inside. The fabric matched the general color of Emily's jacket. But more puzzlingly, the nail was old, rusted nearly through, far older than 2014. What was it doing there? DNA results were inconclusive, and the cave contained no other evidence. But theories exploded online. Was it a mark, a warning, or a trap? Another disturbing thread involves the disappearance of Lena Colburn, a 29-year-old woman who vanished from nearby Llano County in 2003. She was last seen hiking alone, less than 20 miles from where Emily would disappear 11 years later. Her car was found, keys still inside, not far from a seasonal creek. Like Emily, Lena had left no signs of a struggle. Like Emily, she was never found. Could the ridge hold secrets deeper than limestone? Most experts say no. But believers point to recurring patterns in missing person cases throughout the Texas Hill Country, patterns that suggest a cluster, not coincidence. Emily's disappearance, they argue, isn't just a case. It's a marker, loose ends and lingering silence. 10 years later, the official case file on Emily Richter remains open but cold. Her family holds on a hope, tempered, worn, but still alive. A photo of Emily, smiling at the edge of Inks Lake, still sits framed on her mother's mantle. Her bedroom, painted sage green, remains untouched. In interviews, Teresa still speaks of her in the present tense. She's out there, she says. I don't know where, but she's out there. In 2023, an anonymous letter was sent to the Burnett County Sheriff's Office, postmarked from Galveston. The envelope contained only one sentence, typed in block font. You're looking in the wrong canyon. No return address. No fingerprints. No leads. Deputies followed up. Nothing came of it. So, Emily Richter's story remains a suspended, unfinished sentence in the middle of a paragraph that no one can close. Was it a calculated abduction? A willful escape? Or something that defies explanation entirely? We all know that a girl drove into the Texas wilderness on a warm March afternoon and was never seen again. What do you think happened to Emily Richter? Was it a tragic accident, a calculated vanishing, or something more sinister? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to the channel for more content relating to horrors and missing cases.